Hello and welcome back. I've just gotten The Witcher delivered, and I had a chance to play this with Owen from Organic Cardboard yesterday. It was about a 6-hour session, and it ended in a stalemate between the two of us. We actually closed the store down because we got there and were so ill-prepared that it took almost 2 hours for us to prepare and play the very first game. Owen's a busy man and had to work. He had just had his delivered the day before. That evening when he got home, he got it. And I got mine literally an hour before the session. So he was like, well, I'm already packed up and I'm bringing my stuff. I know he'd filmed an unboxing. If you'd like to see a true unboxing of this, check out Organic Cardboard. He's got an unboxing up for this. Because he's already done an unboxing and maybe others, plenty others have done unboxings, I'm going to do a reorganizing video. So essentially the biggest obstacle that got in the way of our very first game was kind of sorting out what's in the box. Because the way things come from the factory, it ends up being sort of the shotgun shell effect of just basically throwing every single thing at you at once. And then you have to kind of sort it out, like maybe before you've had a chance to read the rule books. And I'm not sure why, but for some reason, they've got their rule book locked behind this, some sort of application. I don't know why they don't just make a simple PDF of the rule book. I've got like the proto rule book in PDF, but the new one, they send you to some website where you can kind of download it. And I believe that that's probably so they can do a living copy, so they can make changes and update it and have kind of like, the errata like taken care of right away if you download that rule book. Is probably the thought process there. But my work blocks access to that, and I haven't gotten around to doing it offline because I usually read my rule books at work while I wait for the stupid computers to do things I ask them to do. So I supplemented that proto rule book with watching a whole bunch of how to play videos and stuff on that. But still, the first 2 hours of this session was literally just figuring out what's the core box. We just want to play the most basic version of the game to kind of learn the game because we're learning as we go. So that's kind of what I want to identify in here. So these are the boxes that it comes in. It's very smartly designed, and just a word on the packing for this. I got the big box expansion, and that's what you're looking at. It's kind of exploded into two separate boxes that fit together kind of like Voltron. What's interesting is if you're just going to play the core game, you can reconfigure these boxes to where you can just take the core game with you and leave all the extra stuff behind. Or if you're the kind of person that wants to take everything, or indeed the kind of person that likes to store everything all together, you can reconfigure these two boxes back into one big box that takes up approximately the space of one Kallax cube. There's even a space for this little extra guy that I believe was a freebie if you backed in a certain period of time, or so. I can't even remember now. It's been a while. So we'll be taking this all out of the box, but it's not really an unboxing. I'm not going to go through all the separate components and kind of figure out and show you in great detail. What I am going to do is kind of identify the stuff that's sort of the gotchas and maybe the tips for identifying the core set and pulling that out separately so that you can get the experience without maybe getting the whole ocean of experience all at once. So let's open these boxes up and see what's in there. Now, I suppose I'll start with this Haunted Eridan. This is an extra monster, and there is a space that they say you can put him in. So I'm just going to set him aside for now, and we'll put him in later. The biggest thing you're going to be able to do to help organize yourself is get into where the cards are. I think they're in the bottom of this box. So I'm going to start pulling things out from here. The reason is The Witcher is really a card game with some miniatures and other things also around. In fact, Wes Todd commented on my photo yesterday saying that he was 2 hours in and still sleeving cards. A lot of people see that as sort of a therapeutic action, I guess. If this becomes my all-time favorite game, I might buy some sleeves. I know Owen has already ordered his sleeves and stuff, so maybe I'll get the counts from him and do it. This did come with a really handy guide that shows you the configuration if you want to separate all the extra stuff from the core stuff. I believe that's the idea here anyway. Or combine it all together to Voltron style into the big box, which is how I intend to store it. Right here on the top I have some game boards. I'm going to just slide them up to the front and get them out of the way. I also got the mat, and I was very impressed with the way that they shipped the mat. I was kind of scared because a lot of times when they ship mats and stuff, they either they'll send it in a tube, which is fine and it seems to work really well, or they'll kind of bend it up and stuff. Like I've got a couple of mats that were delivered to me sort of crumpled up in a box. Like they'll put it in a tube and then bend it and stick it in a box. That can cause creases and stuff that can cause problems. So I don't like that as much. This came in a nice little box, like sealed up with this thing, I believe, with this little extra spot. And these two things came delivered in their own boxes. It was a really one of the nicer shipping scenarios that I've seen. They did a really excellent job packing that up and getting it here safe. So now we got some miniature trays. And again, I'm going to just set all these aside. In fact, I might pull these rule books over here to me because they probably will be useful in identifying components and stuff from different expansions. Got another tray here, another tray here, and we're down to the cards. Okay, this is where it can get kind of confusing. If you open up every set of these cards, you're going to end up you're going to be sorting for quite a while. But there are some little tricks to help you identify which one's which. And let's look at this. What helped me the most, of course, was the core rule book. And if you look here in the very beginning, it's got a list of components. Now, this list of components is going to have all the stuff that you need to find and identify for your first game of The Witcher. So, in particular, I want you to take a look at the cards and all the options there. In fact, I'm going to leave this open on my little table off to the side so that I'm able to refer to different cards and things that I find. There's no particular order to where these are placed, so it's actually no big deal just to pull all of these out. So you can sort out what these are and where you want to put them. And boy, when I tell you, there are a lot of cards. Don't let anyone tell you The Witcher isn't a card game. If it's not, there's an awful lot of cards. I think at the very least you'd have to concede that The Witcher is a game that makes great use of cards. Oh gosh, I'm just about... So this has like a little short lid, which is interesting. And inside of here, we have even more cards. There's even more cards and tokens and things to sort, so we'll set this aside. I'm just going to pull all these plastic trays out and we'll figure out where they go and how they go later. More monsters. In fact, I might, to make this easier to match the diagram, I'm going to put all of these trays from this box over here and leave these things over here. Alright. Yeah, I've seen this one depicted a lot. You can see this one, denote this one by this little notch right there. These things are handy too. If you've got any situation where this is going to ever be on top of cardboard or anything like the board for the game, which usually goes on top, but if this is going to touch paper or plastic in any way, you definitely want something between it to help keep from it causing abrasions and stuff. We have some sheets of tokens. That'll have to all be plucked out and sorted out. We've got monster tokens and all kinds of things like that. Yep. I thought it was kind of funny. This has alternative names. so you can swap out the names of your Witcher. Maybe if you want a different name for your Witcher. We have an expansion board. Put that over with the boards. Now this, I believe, this part I believe was is always intended to be the bottom, and this is kind of where I wondered if we could supplement with other little trays, but it looks like they'll be a little too tall and probably would not, yeah, so that wouldn't close properly. This is ideally where you'd store your chits and stuff like that. Once we punch them out, you'd store them in here. We're probably going to utilize bags. Looks like these bags are going to fit just fine, mostly. These are the player boards. They don't need to be stored in that, but I think I will just leave them in here just to kind of help keep them together and keep them from like falling everywhere. We'll just leave them like that for now. Over here, so these are some cards that we pulled out essentially for the first game and then could not figure out what their use was. So you have something called the Legendary Monster expansion that was part of the big box. And all of these things are kind of extended rules that take those monsters you fight and add a little bit more flavor to what they can do. For instance, when you attack, it's not just a wound. It's like whatever the one wound is also causes some other thing, or 2 wounds, 3, so on. So this adds a little bit of flavor to that. I'm not going to be sleeving these or playing with these anytime soon, so I'm just going to leave them in the packages and put them back. These are not part of the core box and will not be necessary for your first game. I'm not super excited about delving into the cards right away, although they are sort of the critical part. I think what I want to do first is organize the tokens. That'll kind of be a good way to kind of get the ball rolling and get things going here. Now, The Witcher has a bunch of different types of tokens, but the main thing you'll see is like the money. There's only one currency, so I'm not sure what the silver ones are. Like if that's something that you do for maybe to represent 2 versus 1 or something like that. Maybe it's platinum. Up here you got the school symbols. There's also some plastic versions of those, I believe I saw there. These will probably go in with the characters. So as you're handing somebody their player setup, this is something that would be included. So if possible, I want to find a way to bundle that in where you're already going to get the character. So I'm going to pull those aside and make a little pile. Of course, the money's easy. We know what you do with that. The other thing I'm pulling out here are the names. These are all that like different names you can do. I'm just going to put those all aside. In fact, most of this I will be pulling aside into just kind of little piles of like things that are just that go together. But some things you're going to definitely need on your first match are going to be these location tiles. Go ahead and separate these by the types of locations. There's 3. There's like a water one, a mountain one, and a forest one. And the other thing you're going to want to look for in here are these little monster tiles. So these monsters this is how you determine which monsters end up in what areas. So there's little 1, 2s, and 3s. You're going to want to separate all of those and put them together by their numbers. And I'm just going to go ahead and put those into bags. Let me organize all this stuff and then I'll come back and we'll talk about what I did. Alright, so I've been doing a crazy amount of sorting and bagging, referencing the various rule books and the components. They all have sort of a component list. Something else to note is all these little plastic pieces. It also has little cardboard versions of that. And there are expansions for Ciri and another like Kickstarter expansion for The Witcher. Now you can put their little cubes that are in a separate box. You can add those cubes for Ciri to the mages. And I added the cubes for the other Witcher directly into here, as well as the little plastic base and their little symbol for their house symbol and stuff too. What's interesting is I guess it was probably Kickstarter Extra to get these little plastic components that help that are your markers for your particular character. But there are also little cardboard ones that are actually a little bit prettier to look at on the board and easier to see. But this is all the mage expansion. You will not need that for your first game of The Witcher. This is an expansion. It's not part of the core box. Before I move on, though, I did notice as I was perusing through the expansions, probably the least documented expansion is this little thing here. What do they call it? It doesn't have a name for the expansion or anything like that. But there's like 3 monsters that it adds: the Siren, the Kraken, and the Kokoshiri. I can't remember pronounce. It's a big spider. It says that the big spider is used with the Mages expansion, so that's why I've got him stuck in the corner here of this box. And I've got him face up so I can see that it's a spider. I also put little adventure tokens on the side there just to kind of sort them out. And yeah. As we move on to the Witcher one, there's another Witcher. His color is orange. We've added his cubes and his special stuff in here and his little tokens in here. His model is actually in the boxes with other stuff, so no other organization needed to do with that. And that won't interfere with the way these are stored. It seems like they're all kind of meant to go like that. So I've added them in there. Playing with Ciri might be a little bit different, but I think with the other Witcher, that's something that you could easily play your first game with that guy, and I don't think it'll make much difference at all. It's just more characters. So as far as the other ones, we have Legendary Hunt chits. I've taken my handy dandy label maker and I've done this so I'll be able to figure it out later. So I got the Legendary Hunt expansion tokens. In here I've got the Monster Trail expansion tokens, the Wild Hunt expansion tokens, and the Skillage, which is the boat portion of this. That one's expansion tokens, as well as these other ones that I have no idea what they do. So all of these are separated and put aside. The only things you're going to need, so if you're going to play this for your first time, you want to play the core set, the only things you're going to need are these monster tokens. You got level 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and separate those out. It'll make setup a little bit faster. And then you've got your land tokens. You can separate these out or not. But these are, they'll all have either water, mountains, or forest and a number on them. That's how you pick where the monster is going to end up, and also how you get, you start to track these things and get on their trail. That's where these come into play. On setup, you're going to be splitting these into the different types and kind of shuffling them around. There's not a lot of each type, so I didn't separate them out. I'll just put them all together in a bag. Then, of course, you got your money. There's some silver ones. There's some gold ones. Like I said, I don't know. I don't see like a 2 or anything on the silver ones. I don't know what the difference is. And I didn't notice that in the game at all, so I'll just throw those here. So here's a whole bunch of bags that you won't have to deal with. And it's really good to kind of just separate the two things out. You could even make it even simpler by taking all these ones that you've already... Oh, the other thing, I guess, to separate out was all these name tags. These name tags, they won't... That's just something fun you can do. You can figure that out later, for sure. Something I was thinking that might help with setup is to take all these core components and put them in one overall bag. So you could just kind of lift that whole bag out and have all the stuff you need to do like a basic setup. I'm not sure I'll have an appropriate size bag for that. It's funny, all these bags I have are all from other games and other things that I've gotten. This will probably do it. So let's try that. Alright, so what I've done is I've taken all the stuff I need to set up my first game of The Witcher, and I put them all in one bag. Now, I know it's kind of neurotic to take a bunch of bags and put it in one bag, but you'll be able to pull this out. In fact, I'm going to make a label that just says core and put it on there. But I'll be able to pull this out, and I'll have everything I need to set up my game of The Witcher, and there won't be any kind of like sorting through this bag, this bag, this bag. I can pull this out, and I got everything I want to go. And it's even separated somewhat inside of here, which is going to make setup maybe a little bit quicker. Now on to the really difficult part, which is the cards. And there's like only 1,000 or so cards to deal with. So let me figure out how to deal with that, and I'll be right back. All right, so as I examine these a little bit closer, I noticed that they are labeled on the top as if they are grouped in the factory. And they come in these little prepackaged envelopes that are like little bundles of cards. So probably at the factory what it is all of these will be on a sheet. They're cut and then resorted and then packaged together. And because this is one sheet and it's done separately from the next sheet of paper that they used, or sheet of cardboard that they used to make this set of cards, they're all separated into these different things. And at the top it says TWOW, or The Witcher, The Old World, and then 21 in parentheses, that indicates which batch of cards this is. So 21, and this is one of 4. So I've got all 4 sets of those. And then there's a 06 one that has 4. And then there's a 53 one that just has this one deck. And another container over here, there's this one card that's kind of off by itself. This might be a reprint or something. And then we've got these other 2. There's 34. There's a 1 and a 2 of 34. So we have 4 different types of cards. I'm looking at this one. The only clue you have as to what's in it is to look at the back. I'm going to open this up and take a look at it first. So we'll move these over. I have a feeling that one of these sets will be like the set of core cards, and another one will be probably most of the expansions. So I'm going to take these and put them aside for a second. And look at this. Pull this off and we can take a look at it and see what symbols we have on the top here. Okay, so just a few of these. And these are, oh, and this is obviously the skillage. 1 by the color of it, and 2, so these might be, these are things that don't understand yet that happen with the skillage, but these are probably little adventure cards that happen if you use that skillage expansion. Let's see if they're all like that. Yeah, there's more boat stuff, boat stuff, boat stuff, boat stuff. So this is all skillage stuff. I have a very limited color scheme of my non-elastic rubber bands, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of lock these all together with one of these and stick it into the box because it is identified. These 2 are in this box here, so let's open them up and kind of see what they are. See if we can figure out what they are. So I'm looking here at 34, number 1, and what I'm seeing on the back of this is a starting deck for a mage. You can tell the starting decks, they'll have like a little icon in the top corner. I'm going to pull that out so it's a little easier to see. Alright, I'm pulling the card off. And I'm seeing a lot of symbols. This look like household symbols. So I know the mages have their own decks of cards and stuff. This looks like, almost looks like a starting hand, although I'm seeing like a lot of the same symbol here. Turn this over and kind of look. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know a lot of the iconography and stuff that goes along with especially the other expansions. But you can see here at the top, for the Witcher ones at least, these were like the starting deck for the different households of the Witcher. Although these, see if we go along, is there something else? Yeah, it kind of changes. So these might be all the mages' starting decks. In fact, that's what my guess is. And then this is a different thing. Huh. Oh, and these are the trophies that you would get if you defeated them. So this probably goes with these. Yeah, these are all the trophies that you get if you defeated the different houses. So if you're sorting these, probably the ideal thing to do to sort these is to figure out the starting cards for a particular house and then put them together with the different these different trophies. That's something I'll probably do with these eventually, but I think for now, since I've kind of identified what they all are, I'll stick them back together and we can insert them in the box. I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put orange on all expansion. I have a bunch of orange ones, so we'll start with that. Looking in the spot here, it looks like there's plenty of space to where if you did want to sleeve these cards, there's about double the amount of space for at least these first two that I've put in here. So that's good news, but there's a lot of cards here. All right, now we're going to do 34 2 of 2 and see what that goes to. So as you know, The Witcher is sort of a card drafting game, and the mages have actually a whole separate panel that they draft from. And I have a feeling that that's what all of this is, because they're all those play cards, but they're just a little bit different. And my feeling is that these are all, I think these are all mage, all the cards for the mages. We've got this symbol on the back, which we just saw over there. So this is more cards for the mages that they can draft. So I'm going to put those here together, or close together. In fact, some of these cards might actually belong in here. But that's something to figure out as soon as I play the Mage expansion, which I'm not looking to do next. That's still an eventually, which means it gets rubber band and put aside for later. I'm going to stick those right together since they obviously belong together. And again, that is 34. All right, now we're down to the 06 packs. 06 packs. Taking a quick glance at the back of this, and I see that little icon at the top. That means that these are probably the Witcher's starting cards. At least, and probably some other things. But we're going to open the first pack. So this is pack 06, number 1. All right, and we have a whole bunch of starting decks for Witchers. This is definitely something you're going to need in your core box. I'm going to go just until I run out of cards here. Okay, so here's all the starting decks. You might want to set that aside. Then this is what, and this is part of the draw stack. Yep, that's all drawing cards. These will need to be shuffled. I'll put those aside. What do we have here? Oh, and here we have player aids. Another great clue that this is part of the core box. We got a whole set of player aids. What is this? Looks like we got two different types of player aids. We got a player's turn with the poker dice rules on the back and after a fight, and then another one here that explains combo effects, which I don't think I found this particular player aid last night because that would have been handy. We got combo effects and a player's turn and monster fight turns. It explains all of that. Witcher versus Witcher, Witcher versus monster, and how that goes. Yeah, all this very useful stuff. I'm gonna separate that into its own little pile. All right, so let's go right into number 2. I kind of have a feeling it's going to be more of those draw cards because, well, 1, I see one on the back here, and 2, it's kind of where the other ones left off, and 3, there's a lot of them. All right, so just taking a quick glance. They're all separated by color, which is probably something with the printing, the way it's printed out. You'd have to shuffle these, of course. And I'm going to go till they stop. Yes, these are all the same. These can all go together with these cards here. Do remember that these are different. There are 10 cards for each character in The Witcher, and those will be separate. You'll be able to tell them from the icon in the top. What else do we have here? We also have all these cards. These are all the cards for the different monsters. Each monster you fight will have its own little special ability. These are part of the core box, and they'll be essential for your first game. So you're going to want to keep those separate. I'll make another little pile over here for those. Right here, you're going to have some adventures. These are the adventures that you'll have in town, and that'll be part of your Phase 2. During Phase 2, you can either fight with something or kind of go on a little mini quest or a little mini adventure. And these are all the city ones. and they get their own pile because they'll be separate. Now we're opening 3 of 4. I have a feeling all the 06 ones will probably be your core box stuff. So if you wanted to, you could leave all the rest of this wrapped up and just open the 06 ones and probably have most of the stuff that you're going to need. I have a feeling the expansion guys are going to be kind of locked in other places, so I'm going to try to find especially the extra Witcher, for instance, all his starting cards, and Ciri and all her starting cards, and I'm going to add them back into the expansions that they kind of expand on, like the mages and the core game for the Witcher. So looking at the back of this, I see more monsters, so let's start there. And this looks to be like the upper level monsters, so a little bit tougher monsters. I could be separating those. Oh, and it looks like some kind of special weapon or something. Okay, so I could be separating these by type, but I think I'm just going to make a pile of all the monster cards right here. All right, so now we have another set. These are actually numbered. These ones with a book, and this is another thing that happens in Phase 3. Some of the adventures you go on will lead you to other adventures, and here we have them. They're all numbered, so you don't shuffle these at all. In fact, they remain in the order that they went in, so that is another pile. I forget what those cards are called. And it looks like next what we have is the monster deck. So this is when the monster fights you, or when you go to fight a monster, this is what he'll be drawing to attack you with, and they represent its life. So different monsters will have different numbers on them. That number is going to indicate how many of these cards get pulled out to use on you. So that is its own deck. All right, and I'm going to pull open the last set of cards. All right, here we have even more monsters. Looking at this a little bit more carefully, I see that these are the level 3 monsters. And there's just a couple of those, because level 3 monsters are real scary, I guess. You're going to have a set of cards, set of trophy cards that are basically, going to be lists of the different things in the tableau. You got attack, defense, and alchemy, and your specialty. So those are all things on your tableau that you'll be leveling up. If you get to the top, you can meditate, and you get a trophy and a special ability from one of these cards. These are essential to your game. If you're going to play 2-player, there's only one of each of these cards. If I think you play higher player count, you can add a second one of those. So the first one to it gets that trophy, and then everybody else is just out of luck. That is part of your starting cards if you play this game. All right, so looking at the back of this, here we have potions. Potions are another element of the game. There are little elixirs that you can get that'll help you in battle and stuff like that. They look similar to that on one side. They have that icon on the other side. This is going to go out with your initial setup. That'll be something you use every time. These cards here are trophies. Well, this one, at least, is a trophy for a Witcher. These are adventures that you can go on in the woodlands. So if you have an option of like adventuring in the city or the woods, and you have different types of adventures, that's what these are. I'm gonna set these aside. And then you got more trophy cards for the different factions. So basically when you pick a faction, you're going to take one of these, and if another Witcher defeats you in battle, they'll pick one of these trophy cards, and that's what they get out of you if they beat you. So I'm going to put all of these trophy cards together. These will be distributed to people as they pick their Witcher. And without opening any of the other cards, I believe that zeroes in on what you need for the core set. I'm going to go through these too real quick. So all these separate piles of cards I've got, I'm going to go ahead and rubber band those up. Looks like I got a lot of light blue rubber bands, so I'm just going to use those. And I'm going to keep them all separated basically by what they do. And hopefully that'll make it easier to figure out. I'm going to try to put stuff that sort of makes sense to go together too, if I can. Got the little city adventure, or the forest adventure. Got your city adventure. You got this book of adventures. You know, I'm thinking these trophies, I'm going to add these trophies to the Witcher trophies because they're all trophies. Then we've got the Monsters deck of cards. Now we've got the Witchers starting decks, the different starting decks for the Witchers, and the rest of the cards that you draw from. And now I've got all the monster cards, which could probably fit. I don't want to squish anything, there's no need to do that, but they do fit right there. Well, it's unsleeved anyway. And that's the core cards, all the way down. Oh. Then, of course, we've got our player's aids. Player aids. Not player's aids, but player aids. Looks like there's some room over here. We'll just slide it right there. All right. So now we got all our core stuff. Got some expansions started over here. But what's in the... we still got all these bags left to go. And there's a chance that some of this might go into here just for ease. You know, to make it a little easier to sort. So if you're in a hurry and you don't really feel like it, you could just do 06 and just pop the rest of these right back in here and figure them out later. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out though while I'm at it, while I'm sorting everything out. Might as well pull it out and identify what things are. So number 45 is all on its own. So I'm going to open this up and take a look at it. All right, so 45 looks like it is mostly consist of legendary hunt components. We've got legendary movement cards, and we've got some special fight cards for the monsters and stuff. So this is all legendary hunt things. So I can figure out what this is later without having... I could break out my labeler for this, but I kind of like, why bother? All right, so now I've got another stack. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. So let's just start with number 1 here. And this is the 21, the deck labeled 21. So a lot of these cards for expansions and stuff, they'll have a similar backing. So it's pretty important to kind of go through these separately. Go ahead and sort out the core box. There's not a lot of clues that I noticed as far as how to tell what goes with what expansion. And in truth, like the stuff that just added more to the Kickstarter, like the other Witcher I keep bringing up, the orange guy, or maybe even Ciri, adding her to the mages. It's a lot of stuff that can be stored together without like really having to be separate. All right, so we've got more city cards, or we got more adventure cards. So we got the forest again, and more city stuff. Wow, this almost seems just like the core set one. And then another set of monster cards, like monster fight cards. Do they look different? Yeah, these are. These look quite a bit different than the other one. I'm guessing that these are probably legendary hunt. But I'm gonna confirm that. Yeah, so far at least the first pack, all I'm seeing are wild hunt things. So I'm going to go ahead and separate those out. The special monster cards, all of the same back, so I assume they go together. And let's break open the next one and look. I backed this so long ago, I don't really remember what all was included. Like and I didn't follow it real closely. I just kind of waited till I got towards the end. And in fact, I think I just had the core pledge up until the pledge manager, and then I upped it to the big box and decided I just wanted all of it. Just give me everything. All right, so we got something that looks like spores. That should be easy to identify. A couple of more player aids. All right. These I remember seeing in here, so this is more wild hunt stuff. These spores I haven't seen before, so I'm not sure what that is. They're definitely their own thing. There's only 2 of these cards. I know they go with wild hunt stuff. We got more mages. Okay. And more adventures too. So the Wild Hunt did have its own little set of adventure cards. I can't remember if those were a different color. So these are some sort of special actions. I don't really know what they do. They got the same symbol as the mages, so I'm gonna set this aside and look for that. All of these obviously go together and stay in order, so put them aside. I did notice that this Wild Hunt does come with more of those, so that's probably just a continuation of the stuff from the Wild Hunt. These are Wild Hunt exploration cards, Stage 1 and Stage 2. Alright, some more Wild Hunt stuff. And it looks like we got some big monsters here. Wild Hunt cards, one per each Wild Hunt member. Okay. And yet more of these of a different type and color. Wow. The Wild Hunt expansion must just be a really huge expansion. I'm not quite sure what to do with some of these cards. Dang, they're going to make me read the rule book? Alright, so everything that's kind of unique, I'm just going to separate out here. And maybe just keep going through these decks and see what all's here. So this is, that was 3 of 4, kind of skipped 2 of 4, so let's get 2 open. I want to go through all these before I start trying to combine them into other things. I'm hoping it stays pretty consistent. The Wild Hunt seems to be the one that, or what is this? Yeah, the Wild Hunt seems to be the big expansion in here. Alright, so this is continuing on these cards. It's like it's going backwards up the way. Is there going to be 100 of these? Okay. Wow, it's got its own set of these adventure cards. Very interesting. Wow, that'll really make the game different. Before I mess that up, I'm going to attach that. Oh, I think this might be the second half. So here's the first half of they're actually forest or woodlands or whatever. So here's the second half of them, I bet, because here's the town ones. And if I put them together, they're going to be about the same size. So my guess is this is just the continuation of the wilderness ones. So I'm going to put those together. So the Wild Hunt has its own set of city and forest cards here. It also just includes these 2 hound cards that are on their own. I'm going to put them with the monster cards. I'm going to stick them on the back of these specialty monster cards, which will kind of make them maybe easy to lose, but at least they'll kind of all be together here with the Wild Hunt stuff. So apparently all of 21 is Wild Hunt. The only thing that was in there that I couldn't really identify are these spores. These things that they kind of look like little spores. I'm not seeing this in the book anywhere anyway. So maybe I'll need to flip through some other ones. Maybe it goes with a different expansion someplace. We have these Wild Hunt cards. This is another one where there's really not very many of them. But they are their own thing, so maybe I'll go ahead and just leave them separate. I did notice that these player aids that were included there are special Wild Hunt player aids. So they are different than the regular player aids. And they actually say Wild Hunt player aid at the top, so that shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Alright, so back in my expansion, because there's so much Wild Hunt stuff, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my strategy a little bit. I'm going to put all the core box stuff up here at the top. There's actually a little bit more room. I think what I'll do is I'll start putting expansions down here. So core box is going to be all across the top here. And the Wild Hunt stuff is going to go over on this side. And across the bottom. Looks like I'm not going to be able to get away with like just putting all the core box stuff in one space. I might split, and I've got this other tray that had cards in it, so I might go ahead and split some of these off into there. In fact, why don't I do this? I'm going to take the skillage, I'm going to stick it over here. And all the rest, all the Wild Hunt stuff, since there's so much of it, we'll keep it all together over here. Because I don't know what these mage cards do yet, but they were kind of arrived in a separate pack from the others. I'm gonna just kind of separate those into their own little thing and stick them in here along with the others. I'm gonna do the same thing with these spores, since they're obviously all together in one thing. I'm gonna go ahead and separate those out, pop them in here. Okay, we just have one last deck of cards to identify and figure out and sort. So let's pull them out. All right, so on the back here, I'm seeing looks like some starting cards for that extra Witcher, I bet. Yeah. So some more Witcher starting cards. This looks like a special action, but I don't see anything at the top, so that might get mixed in with the other stuff. This might be Kickstarter extra content, is what I bet this is. So these are, these looks like just more action cards. Probably could just be added into the core set without a lot of effort. Wow, that's a nice card. To purchase a critical hit, trash one card from your hand. Now these actually have different, like little effects here that you can play when you play them. So these are a little bit different. Yeah, they're definitely different. Here's the Lost Mount, that thing with the horse. And the Troll monster card. These are series starting cards. So we can put them with the mage stuff. And then here are the other guys. I bet these are the trophy cards. Yeah, here's the trophy cards for that dude. Those are probably series trophies. Yeah. Not sure what these are. Look like little bombs or something. These might be something with the mages or something else. And we got these cards. These are those draw cards. Yeah. So these are more types of draw cards. They look a little bit different though. So usually there's stuff like that, but these actually have other things printed in here. So these are a little bit different. Probably not something you want to use in your core box. So 21 has got your extras for the Witcher and Ciri. These bombs, I'm not sure what they do. I'll have to go look that up. And more more cards that you can play from your hand that maybe have a couple of more different effects. So I'm going to add these to the Witcher cards along with their trophies. I'm going to do the same with Ciri. I imagine her starting cards would be in here. Yeah, Ciri's cards are in here. It's kind of dark, but she's got a little dove or something at the top of that. So here's her starting cards and her trophies, which I'll add into this deck if I can. I'm not sure what to make of these different cards yet. I'll have to look that up at some other time. But they're expansion content. And they're all the same, so they get a rubber band. And the Witcher trophies for the extra Witcher guy will go in with all the trophies for the core game. And his core set of cards. We got player aids, we got monster cards. Yeah, so. And the other core cards, make sure these are all core cards though. For the last Witcher, just go in with all the other ones for them. There are a couple of these cards, like there's the Lost Mound and this Troll and stuff. I'm trying to remember what expansion they went in. Like it looks like the Lost Mound is part of the expansion content and stuff. I'm just gonna stick this right here in the middle. A lot of these I've labeled. I've used like the little factory labels and kind of written on them and kind of put that in the top just to kind of help me navigate. But basically, all my core stuff's up here at the top. We got some mages stuff here, mostly wild hunt stuff over the rest. And these other couple of things, I'm not sure where they go. Got the skillage over here. We're going to put these other things right here. And that's good enough. This little card came with it. You can toss this or use it if you have the card game. There's no real purpose in it. The other thing we have is this guy. What does he come with? He's pretty neat and comes in this box, but there's nowhere to store him. So we're going to put him right in here. I believe he'll fit right there. And he's got his own little set of cards. Don't know exactly what they do, so I'm just going to set them right here. I'm not even gonna pull them out. Put a little rubber band in there for later. And he's sorted out. And we got another space up here for chits or something like that, but I'm not sure what I want to put in there. So I'm just going to leave that be. In fact, you know what? I might put the skillage tokens in here. Yeah, there's a set of skillage tokens, and since that's where I've chosen to store the cards for that, I'm going to just stick those skillage tokens right here in the top of this box. And that's good. So that box is done. This box is all sorted out, ready to go. When you go, you're just going to pull out these top cards, ignore all the rest of this, and set up your game. Boy, that's the lion's share of the organization. You really don't have to do anything else as far as the miniatures and stuff. It's just a matter of putting it all back into the box according to that guide. So let's jump to that and end this video. Okay, so I got my map. We've got all the other stuff out. Everything that's supposed to go into this box, this Tower of Pleasa, as I'm calling it. So down inside of here, we've got our tokens separated. I've got all my ready-to-play tokens all in the bag. So this is my core set. It goes right here and fits pretty well. It's got a little bit of sticking out a little bit. The other tokens for the expansions go in here and here. The skillage ones are the only ones that aren't in here. Those I put with the cards where I stored the skillage cards in one of these other boxes, just to keep this, give a little bit of breathing room down here. Now the next thing that goes inside, we're gonna configure this for the big box. What's interesting too is they've got it separated into different things. So number one is this box. You can match the artwork up if you have trouble kind of visualizing what goes where, but it does match up here, on here perfectly. So we've got that with the little trays, the little bins for your tokens and stuff like that. It looks like the next thing that go in is going to be these player boards, and these have a little space where they fit right here. They just notch in just like that, and I've just left them in the plastic for now to help protect them. I'll probably toss that plastic the first chance I get. Next thing we have is this big monster tray with the notches. You can recognize it with these notches here on the side. And that goes in next. It looks like that lid pops off a little bit. That's fine. And it looks like next to, which is a little bit of a surprise, is this, which is the This is the game board, so that's going to go in next. And then it's got something kind of unusual. We're supposed to do the other lid. And now we do the other lid. Okay. Which will go in like so. Wow, these look just the same, but one of them's reinforced and is not. This one's a little bit smaller than that one, so I'm thinking that goes inside like so. Right? Is that how it goes? Shows it kind of like this. And then next, we're putting in all the cards. This big heavy thing of cards. This is quite heavy too. And that's awkward because you got to do it at an angle. So let me pull this lid off. Oh boy. I hate putting so much weight into a vacuum form, but I'm going to grab it just by the top. Make sure it doesn't grab anywhere. Just lower it down into here. Place our lid. Back down here. Oh, making sure I'm not grabbing any of the cards either. Okay. So all the cards are nice and secure in there. Then we start doing the individual things. So we've got the one with the big panel. So this one where I put the skillage stuff in, and that little dude from the expansion, that's going in next. And then the little skillage sideboard is going right here. Now, I believe if I'm looking at this correct, we got this monster that goes in right here. We've got this other one that goes like so. And then the two little Witcher ones go like this. Right? And this last little board is going to go right here. And there's even a little place for it to fit on that. And then on this, the last thing it describes on here is like this token sheet, which I don't know what the purpose of that is. But let's go ahead and just stick our rule books in here. Put the core rule book on top, of course. Which is interesting. They don't show anywhere to put rule books. I don't notice rule books anywhere in this illustration, so that's kind of funny. And then this goes on top of all of it. And there. Oh, and it fits down perfectly. These slide up perfectly. And we've got one big, huge box of Witcher. This is superfluous. In this setup, I probably will go back and shove this in here somewhere also. So I can figure out how to put it back. But there it is. Should I spin it? Ah! And will it spin? Will it spin? Wow, could you take the Witcher and put it in a bag and just like, oops, oh no, I happen to be spinning around somehow. This is probably not advisable. I'm probably damaging this. Let's see. All right. I have a feeling that there's going to be absolutely no problem doing that at all inside of here, but just to confirm, yeah, see all of these things don't care. These things don't care what direction they are. I don't really like putting plastic on top of these things, so I might modify that a bit. And the cards all seem okay. The other layer, I assume, is going to be just fine as well. Yeah. Yeah, definitely passes the spin test with absolutely no issue whatsoever. I think what I am going to do, just so none of this plastic is rubbing against the paper over here, I'm going to take these little expansions. It came with this piece of foam to protect it during shipping and stuff. I'm just going to use this Well, I meant to do that a little nicer. Get some scissors. Don't do this. Don't do what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to take these and just kind of slide it in there to help protect that cardboard from these little grabby bits, and that shouldn't add any extra. Yeah, that's not going to add any extra, and there's nothing to kind of rub on this one. And the one underneath here is actually touching cardboard, so that should be just fine. You probably could take these expansions and like put them down here, but even with this, you're still going to have to go all the way to the bottom of this box to get to your core tokens. It looks like there's a little bit of room up here at the top, so you could probably take that set of core tokens and put them right here and save you from having to go all the way through this box. It is a big box full of things to open and explore and play with. Gonna go ahead and put my map back in here so I can find my way home when I go to do this again. And that's it, the big box of Witcher: The Old World. Hopefully this video helped you organize and get your core game stuff together so you can go jump right into The Witcher. If you liked that, if you appreciate this video, click like and hit subscribe because I'd love to see you again. If you'd like to see an unboxing of this game, Owen from Organic Cardboard has just done one. And we're going to work on a review together. We're probably going to film that tomorrow, which is why I'm pulling all this together now. Do not wait till game night to pull all this stuff and organize it. It will take you a while. It has taken me about 2 hours to sit and sort through all this stuff. I did it very casually and very leisurely on my day off here, but yeah, definitely do that in advance. I hope this video helped you a lot. If it did, be sure to click the like button, and if I've earned your subscription today, hit subscribe. I'm only about 100 away from hitting my first 1,000 subscribers, and I'd love for you to be a part of that. Until next time, enjoy your games, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.